So here we go. So I have my plantain there. I have my soup. I am going to go ahead and, ooh, that actually tastes really good.
Hey, welcome everyone to tonight's event, our cooking show with Chef P. So before we get started, I'm quickly gonna introduce our tonight's chef. So born in Zimbabwe, Chef P wears many hats. She's a mother, grandmother, chef, recipe developer, culinary arts instructor, food and wine pairing expert, lifestyle writer, analyst, among many others. Chef P brings her vivacious, festive style of cooking and demonstrating culinary skills to Wine Dine Africa, the magazine, and the Rogers TV program. Chef P unofficial motto is fresh, local, seasonal, organic. Her recipes blend traditional African ingredients with flavors familiar to Canadian, US, and worldwide, and that's a perfect combination. Chef P has also written a children's book series, which you may purchase at the website that I will share in the chat, as well as Wine Dine Africa, which can be found at the bookstores now. So I'm just quickly gonna hand it over to Hillary and Chef P to take the event, take it from here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for everyone who's been here before or it's your first time. Welcome, everybody. I am part of the Sheridan College Black Student Association. It's a year-round group that creates initiatives and opportunities to the POC community at Sheridan. The SBSA is an organization of students who identify as Black. The aim is to create a safe space for students to feel understood and heard. We are open to allies of all backgrounds and hope to spread Black excellence and representation across Sheridan. My name is Hillary Granger. I'm your events coordinator. Happy Black History Month, everyone. It has been a very eventful Black History Month, and I hope all of you have gone out to some events. Thank you all for being here. Special thank you to the SSU for helping us with all these events. You guys have been great, and all the other clubs we've collaborated with. So tonight is the second cook night of this series, and I hope that you guys all enjoy. I will give it off to my mom. Enjoy, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for the introduction. As you can tell, I am pretty busy, but I love what I do. And my advice, I guess, to most of you, that are younger than me, is to pursue what you love and enjoy it. So my first love is cooking. And today I have decided to introduce, based on the weather, soup. And you can do the soup at home. It's very African based, but you can find all these ingredients basically everywhere. I did my shopping today at a local store. You probably have the same store. So I think you're going to add the recipe online so you can follow me. But in the meantime, I'm going to demonstrate what I'm doing. Okay. So first of all, what I did is I have some regular chicken broth. If you're vegetarian, you can make this whole dish vegetarian. So instead of the beef broth, you can get vegetable broth or make vegetable broth yourself. Today, I choose to use the beef broth. So it's not vegetarian, but like I said, you can adjust it. I added 2 cups of water and the broth to a saucepan. What I've done is I had the chicken broth and 2 cups of water boiling for approximately 20 minutes. The reason I'm doing that is just to blend in the chicken broth, which will bring the soup together. Same applies if you go vegetarian with the broth. So combine 2 cups of water and a cup of broth and let it boil for about 20 minutes, which I have done. I'm going to leave that to simmer because I did a full boil on it. I'm going to leave that to simmer and move to the next step of my soup. So, before I do that, I'm going to add, I basically have purple onion. I like this, it's more for color. If you don't like purple onion, that's okay. Use whatever color onion. I have regular cloves of garlic and some ginger. And what I've done is I've cut it up and I'm going to add it to my broth and my water. So I'll just start with the onions. No particular order. The whole thing is to make it soft. So I'm going to put that on high heat. So what I'm adding again is the ginger, the onions, and the garlic. So once I've done that, I will put that aside for a second. And then I will now start adding the peanut. What I have here is just regular peanut butter. You can use crunchy or you can use smooth. I'm choosing today to use a little creamy one, just so my soup is a bit more creamier. I am a chef, so I go by experience. If you're particular about measurements, the recipe will be posted after this. I can estimate based on experience, approximately this is a half cup, depending on the cup you get, of peanut butter. I then add tomato sauce. And if you wish, you may add, and I'm adding about half a cup of this as well. And the whole key is to oh, I hope you got most of that. So what I did is I combined the tomato paste and the peanut butter. I've added a little bit of crunch. And what this is just regular peanuts, which I've crushed up. I like a little bit of crunch to my soup. So I'll just set my spoon aside and whisk this all together. So once I have a smooth kind of paste going, and I don't see necessarily any red or peanut butter, which is standing out, I think I'm pretty much blended. What I'll do is I will then go to my pot where I have the garlic, the ginger, and the onion with my broth and my water. I would just add it because I'm going to add it to that mixture. For demonstration purposes, I will just add it like this, just for safety as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to my mixture. And you'll see this all coming together once it's simmering. Okay, smells amazing. The ginger, the garlic, everything is just amazing. Is that a question? Did anyone have their hand up?
Yes, there was a question. I will read it. All right, from Vanessa, what type of soup would you describe it as? Filling or not too filling?
It's a very filling type of dish. The peanut butter, as most of you understand, peanut butter can be thick and creamy and smooth. So this could be a whole meal.
Your next question, what's your favorite thing to combine with the peanut soup?
I would do a brown rice and just add it, or just pita chips just to garnish. But this could be a whole meal in itself because you got the peanut butter and like I added a little bit of crunch to it. So yeah. So I am going to add back this mixture back into my pot. And I'm going to let that simmer for approximately 20 minutes. Make sure it's smooth and there are no lumps. Generally, in this type of dish, I would stir for approximately about a minute or so, just to make sure nothing's sticking at the bottom or that, you know, it's not burning from the bottom. It is peanut butter. While that's simmering, what I'll do is I will, and this is optional. Was it Vanessa who asked?
Yeah.
If you wanted to make it more filling, you can add kale or collard greens. In this case, I chopped up some kale, regular kale, and I'm going to add it to that mixture, which adds a little bit of more texture to the whole dish. And I'm going to stir that in.
Vanessa loves kale.
You love kale? So this would be the dish for you. I like to season the soup while it's going to be simmering. So I add approximately about a half teaspoon of salt. And again, this is optional. I love hot sauce. So if you want a little bit of heat to this dish, I would add the hot sauce here. Give or take, depending on your taste, I add approximately about, gosh, I've got kids eating this, so I won't add too much heat. But of course, that's all dependent on you. If you like it hot, go for it. Okay. I'm going to keep stirring it.
Is there anything that you tried with the peanut soup that you were surprised tasted good with the peanut soup?
I don't think I've experimented it much with mixing the peanut soup with anything. Peanut soup is a staple in Africa, and because groundnuts are so common, you can plant them and grow them in Africa, and it's a cheap alternative to a main dish. I have not personally experimented with, I don't know, mixing with anyone. Did you have any questions specific? Like, what would you suggest? I wouldn't necessarily put anything heavy next to it because it's filling itself. I now have a nice thick soup. The vegetables are in there, the garlic, the onions, and the ginger. I'm going to put my top on there, and I'm going to simmer for approximately 15 minutes. The reason I'm simmering is I want the collard greens or the kale to actually cook. While that's happening, what I had suggested is a light dessert. So basically, that's my African peanut soup. We're going to serve that towards the end, and I'm going to move on to the next dish.
I actually eat it as is, so neither have I, says Vanessa.
Oh, Vanessa, what type do you make? Do you make the Western version, or do you add kale? You seem to like kale. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to move on to my next dish. This could be very, very quick, or you can bake it. For those who were here last week, you understand that we're not at home right now. We're in a hotel for approximately another month. So what I'm doing is I'm cooking this in a wok. I am cooking the next dish while my soup is getting ready. And what I have here is standard wok. I've gone with extra virgin olive oil. And what I'm making is plantain. Anyone familiar with plantain? I'm going to cover the bottom of my pan. You don't want to add too much because you don't want it to be too oily. There's nothing unappetizing as oily plantain. And what I'm going to do is, who's ever seen plantain? Looks like a banana, but it's not a banana. Read any questions for me, please?
Not yet.
Okay.
She said that she picks the kale all the way, and yes, it's yummy, the plantain, yummy.
Yummy. So this is a quick meal, especially for university students who get tired of takeout. Quick, I'm sure people who have visited the type of restaurants like Jamaican restaurants, Caribbean restaurants, African restaurants. This is a simple recipe I'm going to show you today. I'm going to reduce the heat on my pan while I demonstrate how to cut this. So I start off with the plantain. You can go very yellow, or you can go slightly green. I'm going to choose a slightly green one for today for demonstration purposes, mainly because I like a bit of a firmer plantain. If you prefer it a bit more ripe. So it's a bit more firm than I thought. Any questions so far?
Do you like plantain chips?
That's what we're going to make. We're not going to make the plantain chips more crispier like you would normally buy in the store. This is more just for the snack. Who has never had plantain? Who do I have? Rena, Vanessa, Iman. Am I missing anyone there? I have my plantain, pretty simple. Like I said, I'm going with a greenish one. If you really like your plantain sweet, go with a slightly more yellow one. If it has too many black spots, it's going to be extra sweet. So my suggestion is to meet halfway. I went with a slightly greener one. So if you see this in the store and you like it sweet, go a bit more yellow, more banana texture. So I like to cut my plantain this way. Can they see?
Yes, I can.
Mm-hmm. And I like to cut it this way rather than standard round circles. The reason is that it will be easier for me to drop it in this way, and it looks more attractive. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back on and demonstrate a little bit more on the cutting technique. You can go thin or thick. Like someone suggested, you could make these into chips. Today, I'm making it more of a snack. And these are easy and tasty. Another option is to get cornflakes. If you wanted your a little bit of crunch to these plantains, what you do is that you would basically get some cornflakes or breadcrumbs and add them, crush them, coat it with a little bit of the cornflakes mixture, and you have a nice crispy shell. Would I say shell or skin? What do you think, Hillary?
I would say shell.
Any questions so far?
You are doing pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to overcrowd my wok. I'd like all of them to be coated. I know we've got high tolerance as a chef. We've got high tolerance of heat. And that comes with experience and time. My kids sometimes are like, Mom, that looks hard. But you know, it doesn't really bother me. I've been burned so many times in the kitchen. Heat doesn't bother me as much as it used to.
Do you like dipping your plantains in anything in
Honey, and I don't know. We like syrup. We like to drizzle with syrup once in a while. And yeah, I would stick to that. What do you do with your plantains? Anyone had plantains, and what suggestions, any suggestions which are unique? So you see, I leave it for a few minutes and then I basically turn them around. There's really no set time here, depending on your taste. The first time I would say half a minute on one side and then half a minute on the other side. The reason is that you don't want to burn them because then they're just not so tasty. Yeah. Okay. While this is happening, I'm making sure I'm monitoring my soup because the last thing you want to have is burnt soup.
Do you season the plantains? I just arrived, so I'm not sure if it was said from other Vanessa.
Okay. Hi and welcome. So what I usually do is I wouldn't necessarily season the plantain because I think it carries itself. It would be going extra. And hey, listen, if you're doing this every week and you want to experiment and maybe dip it in some vinegar and leave it overnight and add a little bit of tartness to it, you can go ahead and do that. Just a little bit of vinegar overnight. I've seen it done. I personally prefer, like I said, nice and simple plantain. Yeah. So I'll put my peanut. Oh, I didn't burn. So thank God I didn't burn. It was more the heat that I have the home going and my soup going. So because I had pre-cooked the magic of TV, and knowing you guys have to go back for midterms, most of you, what I had done is I had basically pre-cooked some of the soup. So I'm going to go ahead and start plating in the interest of time. My paper towel. Any questions, Hillary?
That should be coming in shortly.
Okay, my peanut soup.
What kind of weather would you say peanut soup is good for?
What's it up? Weather?
Yes.
This weather. Yeah, I say this weather. I have some chopped peanuts. So for my garnish, I could just do that. Like I said, if you want a little bit of crunch, just some chopped. And I'm going to get a nice spoon. And Hillary, do you mind?
Yeah.
Showing them. And if you want to go fancy, just so people understand, and you know you can snack on kale anytime, I would do that. And there you go, my first dish. That's the peanut soup. At this point, you can add some cream if you wanted to cream around it. And then I am going to go for my next plantain.
rainy and cozy kind of weather. I like it.
I
Chef
like it
P coming through with the aesthetically pleasing food plating.
Hey, man. Okay, so what I usually do with my plantain, because I didn't add a lot of oil, but I personally don't like a lot of oil. So I just put a paper towel as a base. And as I remove my plantain, I plate it. Trying to go with the circle here, but I forgot my tongs. My tongs.
For the people with peanut allergies, are there any substitutes you would recommend?
Well, you could use, what would you typically use instead of peanuts? Because that's a very sensitive subject, because I personally have a seafood allergy and I just stay away from them. So my recommendation as a chef is, what would you put? I don't know if I could say it would still be a peanut soup without peanuts. So my suggestion is my next class, yeah, I'm hoping I'll be invited back. For my next class, I would probably do a different soup, African based, and without the peanuts.
We had a question come in saying, could you use any type of nuts or ground nuts for this dish?
Absolutely. I used a regular peanut butter. I garnished with, you need to pronounce it for me.
Yup, pick organic nuts, cashews, organic
Yes.
raw cashews.
I garnish with organic cashews because I'm really good at, I like the crunch. So you could use ground nuts. And if you go to an African store, they sell ground nuts, and you can crush it up and make your own peanut butter and do it from scratch. This is what typically we would do in Africa. Okay, so here we go. So I have my plantain there. I have my soup. I am going to go ahead and, ooh, that actually tastes really good. So I got the vegetables, I got the garlic, I've got the mincemeat, and I have my soup ready to go. If you notice, it's nice and thick. The vegetables are nice and done underneath. And it tastes amazing.
This is random, but what tip would you have for a beginner trying to plate a dish before it gets cold?
Well, what type of dish are you talking about? Are you talking about something as simple as this? I would say, unless it's meat, because most people understand that meat needs to rest. So let's say I had a big steak in here. My suggestion is to take it out, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and then all the flavors, all the juices go into the meat. Something simple like this, you don't necessarily have to wait. So I hope that answers your question.
She was referring to any dish.
Any dish. Hey, go with your eye, right? If you see it's getting too cold, hey, you can always pop it in the microwave, right?
Who are the chefs that you look up to or are inspired by?
I am very inspired by African chefs. There are a few of us who I could name, but I think we're growing. The other day I was flipping through the channels and I saw a chef who's doing Moroccan dishes. And she was doing it so well, and it seemed to be very well received according to the Facebook page. So I lean to the underdogs. The big names, yes, I will watch them, but it seems like most of the cooking shows now are becoming game shows, and that doesn't appeal to me. I like instructional type of dishes.
Is there a dish of Hillary's that you've taught her that you like her cooking?
Hillary can cook.
That's a lot.
That's a joke. My kids have been cooking since basically they were 8. With the type of industry I do, I typically start work very early, and my kids had to learn to be self-sufficient from an early age. We do a lot of batch cooking. Most of you know Hillary's a mom, and I see she's incorporating a lot of organic foods like we have always done, where she'll cook a batch, freeze it for the kids, and defrost it. So Hillary tends to shy away from hot stuff, but she's a pretty good cook. She was taught by the best.
Not a question, but I'm going to butcher that. Canadians also eat peanut soup,
Yeah,
but we usually have it with rice, and it tastes so good. I'm
Yeah.
sure this tastes really good as well.
absolutely. I say go with brown rice. I am a big advocate now for a healthier lifestyle. I would go with brown rice. And yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Proud of you, Hillary. I'm proud of Hillary as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope maybe next year you put in a good word for me and suggestions of any dishes you want me to demonstrate. I'm praying that next year we can actually be face to face and you guys can come and taste this amazing dish. If not, I look forward to meeting you and good luck with those people doing exams.
That wraps us up with Chef P. And I want to say thank you everyone that showed up. And I know we're in midterms because I am too. So I wish you all great luck. SSU, did you have anything to add tonight?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hillary. And thank you so much, Chef P, for coming here tonight and having this wonderful cooking class. And yeah, SSU wishes all the participants of this event very best wishes for your midterms, and I hope you all do great.